Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for watching the replay. So good to be here with you all. Hello, Love for Light. Welcome. Hi. Just giving everyone a few moments to arrive. Happy Friday. Aloha Friday. If you're tuning in from anywhere where it's Friday. And happy Saturday if you're tuning in from somewhere where it's Saturday. So I came on today because I wanted to talk to you guys about all of the dragon activations, right? Welcome, friends. Hello, hello. Hi, Spider Lily. Welcome, welcome. So glad to be here with you guys today. Look, everyone who's coming in, yay, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. So if you have been noticing anything that has to do with dragons or mermaids or the stars, drop an emoji in with the corresponding thing that you've been noticing. Hello, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about the astrological configuration that's happening right now because it's pretty amazing. I'm going to get my chart so that you can see. So, and hello to everybody who is watching the replay with us. Welcome, Soulshine Sharon. Aloha Magic Tribe. All right, so I'm gonna adjust this just a bit. Hi. Okay, you guys, so there's been something happening. There's been many things happening in the sky. And I haven't really seen anybody talking about it too much. So I wanted to share it with you all to see if you guys have been noticing and feeling things, because that's the best way to check things, is to see if you're feeling them. Okay, so actually need to change a few things here. Okay, so I guess I can leave it like this. It's just dark. Hello, Rose Stargate. All right, so there is this astrological configuration that is happening that is involving Venus, the goddess of beauty and love and romance, and she is having a conversation with two other asteroid goddesses, and one of them is Astrea and the other one is Sedna. I'm going to see if I can switch my settings here to display calendar colors, ephemeris, rainbow chart colors, sky now colors. We like the rainbow. Okay, so go back to sky now. Here we are. Okay, so also for anybody who's curious, someone was asking me about this today. The app that I use for astrology for my phone, which is where you guys are, and for my iPad is called iPhemeris. It's actually a little play on words. It's super funny. So it's IPHEMERIS. And this is a play on words for the ephemeris. And the ephemeris is like all of the charts, all of the mathematical calculations for where all of the planets are and will be over time in Western astrology. And so I just want to share this information just to let you guys know about it and to show you so that you can tune in and see if you are feeling anything, if you are noticing anything. So this, what we're going to look at right now, I'm going to try not to get the glare. This is the chart of this moment on the iPhemeris app. And what we are interested in looking at is what is happening. Try not to get the glare here. What is happening right here? So this is the planet Venus. She's in 28 degrees Taurus. This is the asteroid Astrea, and she's the star maiden. We'll talk about her in a minute. And this is the asteroid Sedna. She's kind of like the mermaid. And they're conjunct the Pleiades, okay? So they're conjunct, which in conjunct means that they're all having a party all together. So Venus and Sedna, the mermaid, and Astrea, the star maiden, are all hanging out with the Pleiades. And so they're having this kind of like galactic conference in the Pleiades. The star maiden and the mermaid and the goddess of love and abundance and beauty they're all having a convergence, and they're having a little conference over in the Pleiades. And so what does this mean? So I think that it's really up to each one of us to interpret what this means for us personally, and also to look and see where this is happening for you in your particular chart. And how do you know that? You can get this app if you want to. Like I said, this is called Ephemeris. And, oh, nice. So this app is called Ephemeris. If you are an Android user, this one's only for Apple. So if you're an Android user, the app that I recommend for Androids is called Astro Gold, so that you can check and see. You can enter your birth information on those apps so that you can see where this is happening for you. You can also go onto the website astro.com, and then you can enter in your birth information there, and then you can get the chart for free. And you can also, in the extended, hey Kelly, you can also tap in on astro.com. You can also tap in the additional features when you're creating your chart, and you'll be able to add in the asteroids. And so that's a really good thing to do, so that you can see where these two asteroids are in your chart. So we have Venus at 28 degrees Taurus, and we have Astrea at 28 degrees Taurus, and we have Sedna, the galactic mermaid, at 27 degrees Taurus, and they're all hanging out in the Pleiades. And so the Pleiades is really close to 28, 29 degrees Taurus. So it's the last degrees of the constellation of Taurus. And so Alcyon, which is the largest star in the constellation of the Pleiades, many people say that Alcyon is the central sun, because it's that the way that our galaxy is formed in spirals. And so the way that I have understood it explained before was that Alcyon is the central sun for our solar system. I don't know if I'm totally explaining that the right way. However, there is significance around Alcyon as the largest star in the Pleiades relative to all of the solar activations that are happening for us here on Earth. So there's this big party happening in the Pleiades, and it's happening, let me switch this from 1 hour. It's happening today, it was happening yesterday, and right now it is the 7th, and so yesterday was 6/6, and that is significant as well, because 6 is the number of harmony and balance, and it's a combination. 6 is a combination of 2 3s, and the 3 is the number for like the catalyst. And so this energy is and transformational is not quite the right word, but this energy is very activating. And the way that it works, it's kind of like in numerology, where it's like you go from 1 to 2 to 3. And so 2 is the world of duality. And so 2 is like you can get caught, right? You're back and forth, 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 back and forth. And is it black or is it white? What's going on? And so the 3 is the thing that catalyzes. It's always kind of like, if you're having trouble making a decision, and you've got 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, what should I do, 1 2 1 2, if you're having trouble making a decision, one of the things that can be super helpful is just to find anything that is a third option. And oftentimes when you find that third option, that will fractal out and open up many other options, because that's the frequency of the 3, is it catalyzes the shift and change. I also think about the energy of the 3 as a bee. And it's so funny today. If you watch my stories, I had a big carpenter bee up in my windows today, and I actually caught it and had it in the cup and then let it go. So I had that huge bee activation. And then my trainer was asking me about the tattoos that I have that are bees. It's a bee medicine thing. So I feel like the more I look, the more I see. So the bee goes to all of the flowers. The key element about the energy of the 3 is that the bee, the 3 changes. It's like a catalyst in a chemical reaction. The catalyst changes the other elements that it interacts with, but it itself is not changed. So it's similar to a bee that is pollinating flowers. The bee goes from flower to flower, and each flower is like significantly changed through the pollination process. And but the bee is not, right? The bee has collected the honey, and that's different. Yeah, the more I look, the more I see. Yeah, it's, oh my gosh, the more you look, the more you see is so true. So true, so true, so true. I actually read this story in college where there was a man who had to stare at this painting of a fish for like 4 hours a day. Like, I don't even know, for like 2 weeks or something. And it was because his teacher was making him do this so that he would like learn something. And he was like, it's the same damn fish every day. And the teacher was like, the more you look, the more you see. And the longer you look, the more you see. So it's the same with anything. And really, that's kind of the overarching thing that I want to communicate and inspire and ignite within you guys, is that all of these archetypal energies they're here, right? Like information about the stars, or like whether it's like, on the chart or in the sky, it's not something that is outside of us or separate from us or something like that. It's right, that's the phrase, as above, so below. And so all of the energies, they're all mythological, they're all archetypal, and so they're all in us as the elements. And each sign, each planet is connected to a particular element, whether that's earth, air, fire, or water. And so you have access to all of these frequencies. So going back to the numbers, the numerology, so the energy of 3 is this like catalytic energy that changes things, although it itself is not changed. And sometimes I think of myself as this, and I'm just dropping all of the information today. If you are familiar with the art, the science of gematria, so gematria is the attribution of a number to a letter. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, etc., etc., etc. And then you do the math for your name, and then you see what kind of energy you hold. And it's the name that people call you the most. And so if your name, like for me, like my name is Rakai'el, and so people don't call me rakai'elwebb. I mean, like that's my like full name, but they don't call me that. They call me Rakai'el. So if you're, like I have a friend, Micah Daigle, right? Everybody calls him Micah Daigle because it sounds good. So if you're a person, or you have a nickname, then you can do the math for the numbers of your name, whatever that is. And so then you can see what the numbers for your name are. So for me, I'm a 3. And it's really funny because even before, some of you guys might remember when I was going by Rachel, aloha sister. And so now I'm going by Rakai'el. And it's so interesting because the gematria, the numbers didn't change. I'm still a 3. So that was really cool. So So I have a personal relationship with the energy of the number 3. And so yesterday we had 6, 6, and 3, right? And remember Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, you think in terms of frequency and you understand the 3s and the 6s and the 9s. And so that is a significant numbers for yesterday. 3, 6, and 6. Hi, Shan. 6 and 6 and 3. That was important for yesterday. And I feel like it's still, that energy is still with us. So a 6 is 2 3s, right? So that means it's double that catalytic energy, but it's also balancing. It's balancing that catalytic energy. And the 6 really brings in the harmony between those. So it's almost kind of like you have 2 bees and they're humming and buzzing together and they're making harmony, right? So we had all of that happening yesterday, and then when you added up all of the numbers for yesterday, the whole day was a 6. And for me personally, I know that the number 5 is connected to the goddess because it's the 5-pointed star of Venus. I'm actually sitting underneath a 5-pointed star lamp right now. Hey, Sasha. Oh, yay. Some good people coming in. Hi. Thanks for staying up with me. Sasha's in New York. So yesterday was a 6 energy. And so we have 6 and 6 and 3 yesterday, and that whole thing made up a 6. And so that is this energy of harmony and balance. And for me personally, Rakai'el, like I said, it's like, I don't know, ever since I was a kid, I always had this connection to the number 6, and that was like my lucky number for a while. And it felt very feminine to me. So that's just coming from like my own inner awareness, and I think that's really important to you. Oh, perfect. Yay. Good. I can be your bedtime story. So I think it's really important to like know those intellectual ideas, right? That like a 5 is the 5-pointed star, and that's just the geometry of the path of Venus as it retrogrades, and so that's connected to the goddess and all of that stuff. And it's also important to tune into what you feel. So for me, I feel like 6 is a feminine energy. Okay, so that was happening yesterday. So to me, I think that like harmony and balance and the energy of the number 6 is deeply feminine. That's my perspective. So that's what I also want to encourage for you guys, is just to tune into your own personal stories, your own personal myths, because your stories are actually more powerful than the information that you read out there. And so whatever it is that you read, whatever it is that I say, whatever it is that you hear on YouTube or whatever, you have to bring it back, and you have to check in with yourself and be like, is that something that I agree with? And it's not even that you agree with, because that's still intellectual. It's like, is this something that resonates within my body? Is this something that feels in alignment for me? That's what I want you to tune in with. Okay, so we have this astrological configuration happening, and we have the planet Venus. We have the asteroid Astrea, we have the asteroid Sedna, and they're converging in the Pleiades. They're not inside the Pleiades, but they're converging in alignment with the Pleiades. And Sasha, if you know anything about this, I would love to hear your insights, because it's just fascinating me, and I don't hear anybody like talking about all 4 of these points specifically. I actually got on here to talk to you guys about it, to see if I say anything in this kind of channeled transmission that I'm like, oh, great, now I have more understanding. I also feel like, I know it's late on a Friday night, and I'm in the last time zone in the world, so it's probably late for you guys, so there's not a lot of people hanging out with us right now. And I wanted to come on so that this would be on for the people who are watching the replay, because tomorrow, let me just double check I see you, Sasha, time for a day. Yeah, so tomorrow is when the whole convergence and alignments with the Pleiades is the return of the planet Sedna. Okay, great. So yeah, afternoon in Australia, right? Totally. You're in tomorrow, though. You're in the future. I'm literally in the past. Thank goodness I'm working with the energies of Lemuria, because I'm so in the past. Okay, so tomorrow is when, so basically 24 hours from now, wherever you are in the world, Venus is going to go right in exactly 24 hours from now. When this Instagram live expires, Venus will be at 0 degrees Gemini. So it's exact starting, I'm not sure exactly when it goes perfect in exact, but all of this, I wanted to put this out here for everyone to know about so that you all can be tuned in to kind of like have your hands open to say like, okay, so I know that there's information about Venus. I know that there's information about the Star Maiden, Astrea. I know that there's information about Sedna, the Galactic Mermaid. And I know there's information about the Pleiades happening. Because Alcyon, the central star of the Pleiades, is at 29 degrees Taurus. And so tomorrow, in the next 24 hours, Venus will be exact lined up with, it's really like this. They're going to be exactly lined up with Alcyon, Venus is, and Astrea will be there. Okay, so Astrea, I feel like I need to tell a little bit of the story. So Astrea she's called the Star Maiden. And I was just reading about her story. And so she was living like during the golden age when the gods lived on the earth, and Mount Olympus was actually a thing. There were certain gods and goddesses who lived among the humans, and so Astrea was one of these beings. And so she was living with the humans when the fall happened, basically. And so shit started going down, everything was going to hell, kind of literally. And then everybody was fleeing. Everybody was leaving. All of the gods and goddesses were like, fleeing Mount Olympus. They were like returning to the heavens. It was like a bad scene. And Astrea was the last, immortal to leave. So she was the last one, and she was kind of like, the way that I understand it was that she was kind of like, no, we don't have to go, like the humans are good, like, we can still save this, like it's not horrible, this is still worth it. So she's almost kind of like clinging. And some people say that wherever Astrea is in your chart, and if you need to know how you can find out where the asteroids are in your chart, you can go to astro.com. I talk about it in the beginning of the video if you're just tuning in or watching the replay. And you can put the asteroids on your chart. So the way that some people talk about it is that wherever Astrea is in our charts is where we kind of tend to like cling on to something, or like hold on to something, or kind of like there's a phrase that we said in Kentucky where it's like you wear out your welcome, and so you're just overstaying, but in my interpretation, I really resonate with that aspect of her as the Star Maiden. And I feel like I see her prominently placed in so many people's charts who are really, they're starseeds. Like that's just it. They're starseeds. And they are here on this mission, this collective mission that we all have, everybody who resonates with being a starseed, to bring back that energy of the golden age. So it's almost like the energy of Astrea fractaled out into all of the beings who are coming in, whether you want to call them indigo children or crystal children or rainbow children. Like, I mean, I identify as being an indigo. not like a ton, but like that's what I was called when I was a kid. Um, so this energy, I feel like, of wanting to save the humans, wanting to help, wanting to really bring that essence of the immortals, of the star beings into human reality again, that is the thing that feels most resonant for me when I interpret, yeah, when I interpret the meaning of Astrea. uh, so that feels relevant to us, like as a collective, that like the star maiden who is anchoring the star seed frequencies for us as a collective is hanging out with the goddess Venus of beauty and love in the star system of the Pleiades, which has so much resonance for so many of us who identify as being star seeds. The Pleiades is like a real home base for us. Hi, Alyssa. How do you know if you're a starseed, indigo, or rainbow baby? So I think that, first of all, just to kind of like check out some things online and look for definitions. There's a lot of people who have a lot of definitions. That's why I was kind of like, I don't know. Because some people say that like indigo kids are, they're just like, basically rebels. Here I am with half of my shaved head, in a snakeskin shirt. I don't know. I mean, like, yes. So, but there's also things that are about like when I was a kid, and I guess I still like technically have it, but I don't identify with it, that like, being like ADD or ADHD. And to me, it's just like, I understand that from astrology being like, well, my Mercury is like, on my ascendant conjunct the galactic center. So it's like, yeah, I'm receiving a lot of information. Of course, I'm not going to want to pay attention to like how to memorize Spanish words. So, so anyway, so star seed energy. I hope that was helpful for you, Leah. Star seed energy. I feel like that how you know if you're a star seed, it's just like, to me, it's like you fucking know, right? It's like I've been obsessed with the stars since I don't even know how long, right? It was like when I was 14, I was on this wilderness trip up in Canada, and there was like it was a blend of like Native American spirituality and modern day stuff, and it was a whole thing for young girls. And they had a Native American naming ceremony, and my name that I got was Starfish, which is relevant to Astrea and Sedna. She's the star maiden and the mermaid. This is why this is important, you guys. So I don't remember when we started, so I hope that I don't just like automatically get kicked off of here. Right? Yes, it's just like information is like like the modern industrial school complex like cannot hang. I'm like downloading so many codes right now. I cannot pay attention to math. So okay. So I feel like you just know if you've been tuned into the galactic energies, then for like since you were a kid, if you feel like you are here on a mission to bring a different frequency, that you are here because you have different ways of understanding, you are here because you are bringing through energy from past lifetimes of Lemuria or Atlantis, or off-planet memories of Andromeda or Arcturus or Sirius or the Pleiades or Lyra, like other star systems. I feel like that you just know. Find the fixed stars degrees. Right, exactly. Yes, I was looking. My teacher did a whole asteroid reading for me with like 52 asteroids on it, and it's so insane all of the meanings that you can get from the asteroids in your chart, or not from the asteroids, but from the fixed stars too. So I'm getting super excited. So even if it hasn't been since you were a kid, as a kid you were largely observing the 3D and your starseed awakening happening in your 20s. Right. Yeah, I think it's like exactly what I was saying. It's like if you feel like that you are here as a part of a soul group that is, even if you feel alone, this is a special part. Even if you feel alone in your current proximity, like your current 3D reality, I get it. I'm from Kentucky. Um, and even if you feel alone, but you feel like you are part of a group. I always knew that I had a mission. I always knew that there were like beings and angels and like spirit animals. Like I always was aware. Like I wasn't aware of it so much in that moment, but looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh! Like, and they just called me imaginative, and that I was always daydreaming. So yeah, totally. You didn't have to feel it when you were a kid. You absolutely did not have to feel it when you were a kid. It's just like if it resonates for you. I feel like you know. And that's the biggest thing, that's the most important. There's just parts of you that doubt it and wonder if it could actually be true. And the only person that can decide is you. That's the main big thing. The only person that can decide is you. So, all right, so we have Astrea. She's hanging out with Venus. They're in the Pleiades. Now we're going to add in Sedna. So Sedna has this like not super cool story. Sedna has been in many different mythologies from like Inuit. I think there's even a Japanese story. But so Sedna, excuse me, in many of the stories, Sedna either was so, thanks, either she was so forthright that she decided she didn't want to marry, and then her dad got upset, or it was like she didn't want to marry, but then her dad arranged for her to marry someone, and then she left him. All the stories are like not very cool, and it's kind of like, you know, a man usurping her free will. And then she, like, I feel like I just read these, but it's like she jumps in the ocean. She ends up in the ocean, and her dad comes into the ocean in the kayak, and she tries to climb up into the kayak to get out of the ocean, and her dad chops off her fingers, and then her fingers become like the seals or like the sea creatures. And so she has a not cool story, and like ultimately it's that she's connected to, I know, right? She's connected to the sea, to the ocean, and to the sea creatures. And that a lot of people, I know, right? I need to like read them more slowly. It's like my mind goes so fast. I just read everything so fast. I need to read them more slowly so that I actually remember them. So the overarching story is that she's like connected to, she's a being that lives in the ocean who is kind of a champion of the welfare of the sea creatures. That's kind of like the takeaway point. And I was thinking about this when I was walking the dog, because it's like with all of these stories, it's like you kind of have to take them with a grain of salt. Hey Tara, because they were told through the lens of the patriarchy. And so like the patriarchy was in full effect in Rome, right? And so it's like, and it just got more and more compounded over time. So I feel like there are parts of these stories that they're shaded by the patriarchy. And so it's kind of up to us, and up to us as a collective, to do the work to get ourselves to a place where we can see through that shading. We can see through that lens. So regardless, Sedna, I like to think of her as a mermaid. So she's one of the beings, or Selkie, right? A Selkie would be really appropriate because Selkies are seals. And there are seals in the water, and then there are humans, or bipeds, we'll call them. I don't know if they're humans. I know, totally. Yes, exactly. Like the story of Hestia. It totally. That's a really good example. So so she is a being who lives in the ocean. And so what do beings who live in the ocean have the ability to do? Breathe underwater. They're comfortable in the depths. They're comfortable in the darkness. They're comfortable in the uncertainty. They are comfortable in the collective, multidimensional ocean of all that is. So that's the way I like to talk about Neptune energy, or Piscean energy, is that it's the multidimensional ocean of all that is. And it's almost like in the same way that Astrea, she was ultimately connected to Virgo, and I think to Pisces too, which is actually interesting because this is the Pisces link right here. Because she was this goddess of purity, and that's an archetype that's connected to Virgo, and she was really kind of like, all about justice and doing the right thing and not like leaving the humans when shit was going down. And so the story is that after, like, she was Astrea, and then afterwards, when she decided to finally leave, she was planted, or she stayed in the sky as the constellation Virgo. So some people say that Astrea is another name for the constellation Virgo, and she's still an asteroid in her own right. So that's also one of the things about astrology and about everything, the more that you get into it, is that when we're coming from this linear third dimension of like, well, is it this or is it this? Which one is it? Like, how can it be this if it's also this? Like, I don't, like, which one is it? And it's like, well, like, to me, the world of astrology and the world of archetypes and the world of myths and stories and all the stories we tell ourselves, we have to be open. We have to become Sedna and be the mermaid who is at home in the morphing, shifting, multidimensional ocean of all that is, right? So just take all of this, and yes, the paradox. So just take all of this and sit with it and see if you want to check, even if you want to check, you want to be a mermaid. I know, me too. So if you want to check where all of this is happening in your chart, if you just go to astro.com and just check and see where Venus is in your chart, you put in your birth information. You don't even have to mess with asteroids because they're all hanging out with Venus. So if you know where Venus is, not in your chart, but in the transits, you'll have to look at the transits. I teach you how to do everything like this in the Astro Empowerment course, by the way, which is available through the link in my bio. Oh, what's up, Amanda? Hi. So take it, yeah. So Venus right now, you could even, Venus right now is at 28, she'll be into 29 tomorrow, but 28 degrees Taurus. So you could actually just even look at your birth chart and look to see where is 28 degrees Taurus. Where is 28 degrees? I'm getting distracted. But you can look at your chart and you can see where is 28 degrees Taurus in your own birth chart. You don't have to get into transits. It can be super easy. Then you'll be able to see where this is happening, what house it is for you. And then you could look up, this is totally like renegade astrology. You could totally look up, you can Google what house this is for you when you see where 29 degrees Taurus is. And once you find that out, you will also know where the Pleiades are in your chart. So, right? So Sasha said that all of this is happening close to her south node in Gemini. Depends on what degree it is in Gemini, how early it is. But it's like, that could also mean that you have a past life connected to the Pleiades, which we know is probably true, knowing you. So you know, like my teacher has the Pleiades. This is in his fourth house, and like he's totally like fourth house is about home and family of origin and things and things like that. And so it's he's clearly, his home is the Pleiades. He's from the Pleiades. So so just take, we're probably going to be at our time soon, but just take all of these possibilities. So cool. So I want you to really just take all of these archetypal ideas and let them swirl around for you, because the energy is going to get stronger tomorrow and probably even the next day. So this is, yeah, I mean, yeah, Sedna is going to still be talking to Alcyon. Yeah, really to tomorrow and the next day. So June 8th and June 10th. From right now through all of this. Yay, you're so welcome. And I teach about all of this again in the Astro Empowerment course, the 6-month course, where you get information twice a month. And you get to, it's all pre-recorded videos, and you can actually download the audios so you can listen to it as often as you want, whenever you want. And it's about a contemplative practice. Of astrology. It's about learning to mentor with the different astrological energies and to allow them to teach you, because they are already inside of you. If you think I have the answers, you're misinformed. So thinking about, and that all the information is in the link in my bio. So thinking about the energies in your life, if you can check to see where 29 degrees is in your chart, that would be fun. And then to Google what house that is in. And if you need help, you can sign up for my class. And then meditating on the conjunction, the combination, the conference, the conversation that's happening in that area of your chart that is involving Venus, which is the goddess. She is the goddess of beauty. She's the goddess of the arts. She's the goddess of abundance. There's so many different ways and so many different cultures that she's translated. She's the goddess of love. And like self-care is so Venusian, really good food, relationships, there's so many things. So the 11th house, so yeah, so that's like tribe and community for you, so look up more about that. So this could be open, oh my God, this is opening up, we did a session yesterday, this is opening up you to your community, this is so good, yes. This is so good. This is so good. This is so good. So that is you opening up to your community, right? You made that post about embodying Sedna, or sorry, not Sedna, but Astrea. And now this is happening in your 11th house. And it's like, I felt like I had to actually check your profile to see if you'd actually posted a selfie before, because I was like, wow, I feel like this is the first time I'm seeing you. So I'm going to open this window for a little bit more light before we wrap here. So thinking about the goddess of beauty and love and all those things that are Venusian related to Venus in your life, and also thinking about all of the ways in which you connect to the stars, all of the ways in which all of the ways in which you connect to that star seed frequency. All of the ways, if you're connected to the Pleiades, if you're dead, I don't know what that means. 5th house is amazing. That's where it's happening for me too. The 5th house is about true love, romance, creativity, and vacations. It's awesome. Basically we're making a soup, okay? So we're making a soup as a collective. All these energies are available and accessible to us. And then we're also making a soup in each one of our charts in a particular area. So we're making a soup. We've got our soup here. The soup is all things Venus, which is all things beauty, all things abundance, all things artistic, all things creative, all things related to love and romance, all of those yummy Venusian sex, all of those things. We're making that, we've got that into our cauldron. And then we're adding in the energy of Astrea, the star maiden. So this is all things that are connected to the star seed frequency. This is an L, right? I will probably have to go up and read those other things because I'm in the flow right here. So we've got our soup with all things Venus, all things Astrea, the star maiden, our connection to the stars, looking up at the stars tonight, connecting with the stars, especially the stars, the Pleiades. So that's the third ingredient in our soup. We're stirring the cauldron with the goddess of love and the star maiden and the Pleiades. And look up stuff on Alcyone in particular. It's Alcyone, I believe. Alcyone. And so all things Pleiadian. I actually need to search in my Pleiadian books about astrology because I feel like they're trying to tell me something about that. The Pleiadians, many people, hi Em. The Pleiadians are, many people say that if you need to research on the Pleiadians, oh, there you go. There it is, written down. Sasha wrote it down for us. Starbound Earthseed. Yeah. So, Barbara Marciniak. Sasha, can you write that down too? I know you're falling asleep. Barbara Marciniak. She wrote Bringers of the Dawn, the book Earth, The Path to Empowerment. She channels the Pleiadians, and that's one of my favorite resources for Pleiadian wisdom. So the Pleiadians, many people say they are our grandparents from the future, and so they have ascended. Their planets have ascended, and so they are helping us to reach ascension because we are the only planet of free choice in our solar system right now. So we're the only like free choice experiment. So we're being, I don't want to say tested, we're being invited. We're being invited to see how we want to use our free choice. Thank you, Sasha. Perfect. So there are those two names. We're being invited to see how we will use our free will, if we will be in our integrity, if we will act with compassion, regardless of crazy shit happening every day. So the Pleiadians are here as our guides, as our mentors, as our allies to help us, to guide us, because they went through this before. And the Syrians were before them. And so we have a whole angelic host. And so that's in our soup. Pleiades, Star Maiden, Venus, and then we add in the mermaid, right? So that idea of diving deep, that idea of, you guys know I do free diving. And so it's this idea of calming yourself so that you can get down to the depths, so that you can reach that hidden treasure deep within you, and that you are not afraid of the darkness. You're not afraid of the pressure. You're not afraid of the creatures in the deep. You are comfortable with endless possibility, right? Because when you're out there in the deep blue, it's like whale, tiger, shark, who knows? Like, and Pleiadians, like, who knows who's gonna come up there? So feeling into all of these frequencies in your life, whatever that reveals to you, you know, maybe like come back and listen to this right before you go to bed. And well, after this expires, this is going to go in our Magic Tribe group, and it's going to live there. So if you're not already a member of the Magic Tribe, you can go to the link in my bio, and you can go to the little button that says it says join the Magic Tribe. You'll be able to get it, and then you'll have access to this recording forever. So I feel like the other thing that we just need to close with is just really honoring somehow this is connected to the dragons. That I don't know. I'm not aware of the exact direct link, but the dragons are everywhere. The dragons are coming in, and so the idea, if you also look in my bio description, you'll see that I call myself a seraph. And so a seraph, the seraphim is the plural. A seraph is an angel. And if you look back in the biblical text, they were flaming serpents. The angels were flaming serpents. And these were the keepers of wisdom. And so I know, right, the dragon energy. So for me personally, I had a whole vision that was a revelation of me as an opalescent dragon with golden claws, and I just felt that in my body as an affirmative. So I just know that that is true. And if we want to get super, since we're coming towards the end, we want to get super into the esoteric, you can check out, I think if you probably YouTube this, if you YouTube or Google Adam Apollo, that's one of my dear brothers, Adam Apollo, and the word Star Wars. And so he did a whole 3-hour interview, and this was the real history of the galaxy and the real Star Wars. And basically, in a nutshell, you need to go watch the whole thing because I'm totally just gonna like paraphrase it. In a nutshell, he says that this whole reptilian thing began with the Andromedan dragons. So there were Andromedan dragons, dragons of Andromeda, and the Arcturians. Thank you. Yes, you already knew I was going to say that. Perfect. Sasha's my girl this evening. Yes, thank you. Oh, good. I can't wait to see it. Okay, so look up what Sasha wrote down, Starbound Earthseed, Adam Apollo, Galactic History, Star Wars. Google that and you will not be sad. You will not be disappointed. So he tells the story of the Andromedan dragons and the Arcturians. And basically it's that the Arcturians are master geneticists, and that you never know what an Arcturian looks like because they look like anybody, because they've just manipulated all the DNA all over everything. And that's not bad. And they got a little forthright with it. And so somehow they, like I said, I'm totally paraphrasing. Like, I know I'm probably doing a terrible job, but please go look. You're totally an Andromedan dragon, right? I know. So the Arcturians got a hold of some Andromedan dragon DNA, and they decided to play with it. And so they created these creatures who were hybrids of Andromedan dragons. And they didn't realize that there was a soul, that the DNA is not just like proteins and material, that there was a soul that traveled with the DNA. So these dragons from Andromeda had been incarnating for centuries within their soul groups, on their home star system, as massive, powerful beings of light. And then when they were incarnated with this, I wouldn't say stolen, but just with this manipulated DNA that the Arcturians used, their soul traveled into these like reptilian bodies. So they were not dragons and they were not reptiles, but they were these like reptilian creatures. And so then this is a story that the Andromedan dragons found out about this, and they were pissed. And the beings who had incarnated through the Arcturian DNA modification and were now living in these reptilian bodies were very pissed because they're not with their friends, they're not in their star system, they're not with their family, and they're in these tiny ass bodies. And they're used to being like powerful beings of light. And so they were upset, and so they communicated to their home family, and then they got upset, and then they decided to die so that they would reincarnate, soul traveling into these reptilian creatures who are being fabricated by the Arcturians, and then they would kill the Arcturians. They would like make them pay. And again, it's kind of like understanding this story through like the old energy of like, like, eye for an eye kind of situation. So they chose to incarnate, and so then they were going to attack the Arcturians for stealing their DNA. And like I said, scroll up if you want to see the whole story, Adam Apollo, Galactic History, Star Wars. Google that. So then there were other Arcturian dragons who were like, whoa guys, like this is not actually cool. Like we can't just be like, dying and then incarnating into like small reptilian bodies and then like killing the people who manipulated our DNA. Like that's not actually okay. So then they decided to die. And then they came over and so they're all reptilians except for the Arcturians. And some of the reptilians want to kill the Andromeda or the Arcturians, and some of the ones want to stop. They're the rebellion, basically. That's the real Star Wars. Is that was the rebellion, and so they want to stop this kind of like eye for an eye, vindictive kind of situation, and like put things right. So the story is that most of us are in some way reptilian or dragon, and especially those of us that feel resonant with that starseed frequency. And there are other star systems, of course. There's, the Sirians and the Lyrans and the Pleiadians, and you could be a hybrid, right? Let go of your whole linear way of thinking. I just really feel like that this whole conjunction, I know, like get your esoteric nerd on, go watch that. So why I bring that up is because I feel like the sun, I have checked my watch, but there's not like super solar flares happening, but it's like I have seen 2 solar halos in the last week, which is right. There you go, Lyran and Draconian. 2 solar halos in the last week, and in one of them, I posted it on Instagram, I saw a fucking dragon, like its scales and all. It's right there. So it's very interesting to me because there's been very minimal solar activity actually happening, like minimal solar flares and things like that. And I'm gonna go outside because it's getting dark. So the sun is setting. But there is just all of this energy that is through the light codes. The light codes have been off the hook. The solar activations have been so insane. And with the whole conjunction with Alcyon, it's with the Pleiades. It's like the people who say that that's like the great central sun. There's just some super, super duper solar activations happening. You saw the craziest sunset. I know, the light codes you received them. That's just what happened. So I hope that this was helpful. I'm gonna go meet a friend and we'll go see the what do they call it, the opening of the Dark Phoenix for the X-Men. I'm super excited. And yay to us all anchoring more and more of our own superhero capabilities. And if you would like to learn more about any of this, I am teaching my Astro Empowerment course. The enrollment is closing on Friday next week. I extended it. My lives are always so awesome. Yay, so good. This is a good one. Astro Empowerment is available for you. Tap the link in my bio. It's a 6-month immersive experience into all things astrology. You will walk out completely changed. So there are several people who are on here with us today who have already signed up. So it's super exciting to be with all of you, and I hope that you have a fabulous day. Enjoy these codes and let me know. Send me a direct message, comment on my Instagram, tell me how all of this is manifesting for you. I would love, love, love to hear all of your star being, galactic, mermaid, Pleiadian, dragon, goddess of love activations. All right, I'm gonna go see the movie. I love you guys.